We have my old friend Derek Smith is here. Hello, Derek.
Hi, Matt.
Nice to see you.
You.
And you brought Nick and Chloe are with you. Welcome.
Hey, nice to be here.
Thanks for having us.
And I gotta turn those mics. I'm getting used to the new mics here, the new setup. I'll turn you guys up a little bit there. So now, obviously, I've known Derek for like 20 years, but who are the two of you? Who are Nick and Chloe?
Well, my name is Chloe Schrottmeyer, and Nick and I are both representatives and board members of a really cool space that's kind of coming here in Manchester.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's called the Mosaic Arts Collective.
Mm-hmm.
It's located at 66 Hanover Street, right next to the Palace Theater and a couple other really important Hanover Street entities. We are more than just a gallery. We do have gallery space where lots of local artists are exhibiting over the last year, and it's been really fulfilling to see these local artists come from all over New Hampshire and beyond New Hampshire to come show their work of all levels in the space. But one of the cool things about Mosaic is that it's not just a gallery. It is also a studio space and a workshop space and a classroom and a collective for all of the arts community of Manchester to kind of share and come together and
Yeah, and that's artists that are just starting out. That's established artists. We do art calls, so like anyone can enter and join a show and show what they have.
Okay. Whoops. Oh, sorry. Okay, I forgot I muted my mic for a second. Yeah, I'm still getting used to the new setup here. Yeah, Jenny and I have been there. So we've been there twice now. We were there for the show.
We were there for a concert.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who was? I forget who was playing that night. Derek will remember.
That was back in December.
Yeah.
And that was the first one. Had Evan Benoit of Happy Just to See You.
Oh, yes.
And the DJ Bizza from Portland, Maine.
Yep. Yeah, he was great. Well, both of them were really good. And then we were there a number of weeks ago for during the daytime.
Yeah,
for
there was a presentation, a talk on AI in art in many different forms, which was really interesting.
Yeah,
I really learned a lot about AI that I did not know before. So it was a great talk.
yeah.
And I know they have more things like that coming up. And tonight we're gonna go see Abner the Second
Yes.
and Regal.
Yes. Regals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I forgot to put the S on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking them out last night. I was really enjoying their music. So I'm looking forward to seeing them live tonight. And the space is so uniquely cool in that the Mosaic Art Collective, when you walk in, it's art. You walk into this really amazing space that has different people's work, different types of talents, different types of textures and styles. And then you have this warm room in the middle where the music is and everybody can gather. And then there's a lot of artist spaces there. They're beautiful. It's just a really uniquely cool place, that little diamond in the rough of the city that even once you know it's there.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah. It is sort of set up. We are located on the second floor, so we are a little kind of set back and a little hidden there.
Yeah.
But it is a diamond when you first walk in, and the space has served a numerous amount of purposes for many artists and creative in Manchester over the last year plus some. I love that you guys have been into shows and seen some of our music that's happened so far. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we fell in love fairly quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. No, very cool place. Now, so the two of you, Nick and Chloe, so you're both on the board?
Correct.
That's correct.
Now, how did this get started? How did the art collective get started?
So it started back in August. They did a show called Full Circle. It was kind of, like I said, an art call, so local artists could participate. My friend Cassia sent me a link, and I entered, and I met Liz when I dropped off, and it was just extremely warm and welcome. You just walk in, and you just kind of feel like comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of been like that all year, and it's snowballed, and now we're a nonprofit with a board, which we joined. And it's just a nice spot for people to show art that are local. And right now there's a show called This Is Us Plus Some. So the board members brought in a guest each to show some art that are like local leaders in the area.
Yeah.
Really all of New England, but mostly locals in New Hampshire.
Okay. I assume, we always talk, Jenny and I talk about this on the show quite a bit, because we have a lot of musicians on, and we're always talking about how it's amazing how much local talent there is.
Yeah.
And you would, you almost, and I assume obviously it's not unique to this area, anywhere really, you're going to find a lot of music, local musicians in your area who are doing really great stuff. And I don't think people who aren't paying attention realize just how much talent there is going on around them, that they're not aware of unless they're actually taking the time to investigate and go out to see shows or go online and find what local musicians are doing. I assume it's the same with art, right? That there's just all this talent all around us that unless you're really kind of tuned in and paying attention, you don't even know that it's there unless you at least put in the effort to check out a place like Mosaic and explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mosaic was the first place that I ever showed. I had no idea. I've lived in New Hampshire for 10 years now, so
yeah,
it's like I had no idea that everyone was around here doing this much.
It's
a community I just was oblivious to.
Yeah.
So it was really cool just to see and meet all these people over the year, and it felt like years.
Really,
it's only been 1 year, so it's like this place is just kind of blown up in Manchester.
Yeah, that's really cool. That was your first time. I talked to Liz, and at some point when I get daring enough, I'll submit something. But I like hearing that you did it for the first time, and then here you are. So that's awesome.
Yeah, just
it's encouraging. It's encouraging.
What goes into that? Is showing? Is that the right term? Show?
Sure.
Exhibitioning, showing.
Yeah. Like what goes into that?
So it is it's a team effort. So this current show that we have up was a little bit of a different structure. It was an invitation structure. So that was a little bit different. We reached out to artists and invited them to come into the space and show. Typically, we run a open call every month. And for an open call, anybody is welcome to enter. And we love that everybody does.
Yeah.
And
like when you say everybody, like how many people does it end up being?
Oh, it depends. So some of the things that might dictate who enters the show are we try to assign a theme to each month that might be relevant to something that's happening in the month or relevant to our own timeline as a gallery. So I think different themes attract different kinds of artists and attract different kinds of work. So, for example, in October, this most recent October, we did the Nevermore show. And I think Halloween is a very popular thing for artists.
I can imagine. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That makes sense.
We had just an influx of just amazing work, all inspired by spooky October things.
Yeah.
And that was on the flip end, then the board has to get together and review all these submissions and make selections. And once we have that list of work that's selected to make it into the show, then we have to hang it on the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
So that has always been fun. And I think I can speak for more than just myself when I say the hanging parties that we do at Mosaic have been a really huge team building experience for the staff or those of us that are involved with that process. We have really had every month just this wonderful point to come together, touch base, kind of collaborate on this show that's going to mean something to everyone, not just us. And it provides all of us such a great feeling of fulfillment and happiness. We all walk away from those days, those evenings, feeling really uplifted and, I think recognizing what this was all about in the first place.
Yeah.
Liz is the owner and founder of Mosaic, and she moved back into this area, to Hooksett area, after living in Vermont for quite a while. And I think her time in Vermont, she found that there was a really thriving, collaborative, local arts community And when she moved back to this space, was sort of surprised to see a different environment in this space.
Yeah.
And I think she saw, identified, and then executed the need to produce a space where the local artists here in Manchester could come and really live up to what some of the other like small local art communities in the US are doing all around us. And it's sort of collected and organized that effort into one space. And seeing that come to fruition over the last year has been, I think, to Nick's point, it's felt like a decade, not just a year.
Yeah.
You know, we've gained a decade's worth of friends and met a decade's worth of people all in the last year, and network and inspiration and collaboration, all of that in the last year. It's mind-blowing to think how much has happened.
No doubt.
It's interesting how people can interact with the artists more here too. Where it is a local collective of artists, you have the opportunity to speak to the artists or get closer to them than you would in a large gallery situation where you might see their name, but you wouldn't even know what they look like.
Yeah.
Here, the artists can be more in touch, they're more reachable.
I'm curious too about the submission, because you're talking about like the board. You've got to review all the submissions, and is that a difficult process? Because I would imagine, because obviously any kind of art is subjective, and so I would imagine there's some disagreement, right? About, like someone might like something and someone else will say, no, we can't.
Yeah,
no.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you have 3 of us try to do it at a time so that there's a tiebreaker vote type of thing.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
So,
Yeah.
Like if it was one person, it's going to be pretty biased. But if you have 3 people doing it, then it's like 2 people could agree and one guy's like maybe iffy about it, or like 2 people could kind of be iffy about it, and then you have the third person say, actually, yeah, that's like, why not bring that in, and that type of thing. Like, so it is a collaborative effort, like with everything. So like judging a show, hanging a show, like Chloe said, we all show up and kind of take a wall and hang the show.
Yeah.
And then we also have the openings, like where you can meet the artists, because most of them show up. So it's like you can just go to an opening and see something on the wall and the person's standing right there to talk to. So
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. There's lots of checks and balances in how we make those selections. And I think one of the core elements that we keep in mind when we're making them is the mission of Mosaic, which is to help build and nurture and influence the growth of one's practice in a safe place. So when we're making these selections, we're keeping in mind that this is not just about what is the internationally, technically good, like museum artwork. This is about real art. This is about community art. This is about self-expression. And this is about being supported in that.
Yeah. Excellent. And now, Derek, how did you get involved? Obviously, you've been booking the music, and you and I have known each other for a long time in the music industry. We used to do. Jenny's heard this, of course, but back in the day, we used to book a lot of shows, and you introduced me to. Well, we were sort of half kidding at the show that Jenny and I went to, that Acacia Strain, they owe all their success to us. Because we booked them on a show.
I'm honestly surprised they're still a band.
They are still around.
Yeah.
Well, they had a great start because we booked them.
Yep.
So I don't
We
remember
paved
where.
the way.
That's right. They owe it all to us. But so how did you get involved in the collective?
Once I moved back earlier last year, and in the spring, I reached out to Liz. I was just looking for some sort of outlet, because I had initially wanted to start a gallery collective of my own in the city here when I lived here, 10 plus years ago, and that never materialized. So I started my online gallery, Artists Only. And, I've just hosted a bunch of artists throughout the country and international. But I still wanted a physical space because the idea was always to include a monthly showcase of performers. And I reached out to her to see if she was open to the idea, and she was. So I met with her, went over some logistics, and we, that was in the fall that I met her initially, and we had the first show, as you mentioned, in December.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just we're gonna try to keep doing them.
Are you still doing your online gallery?
Periodically, not as regularly as I had been, but yeah, it used to be a more full web page. Now it's solely structured to Instagram. So
Oh, okay.
that's at Artists Only AO.
Oh, okay. Okay. What goes into that? An online gallery? Do people contact you and say, I'd like to feature? Like, how does that work?
I don't get contacted so much as I network with the artists. I'll reach out to someone I'd like to feature. Also, it's nonprofit, so I'll just also sometimes repost various artists' work and give them the credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your Instagram page?
It's Artists Only, and then the abbreviation AO at the end.
And now, for the music, are you booking all the music at the at Mosaic? That's all you?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's relatively new still, but
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the second one tonight. I already have the one set up for next month, which will be on the 17th. It's going to be more of an electronic night with 2 solo electronic artists.
oh, cool.
Another one from Portland, Maine, Gibbs Freelance. And I try to have a local support as an opener for Draw.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Danny Camps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does kind of like, he plays guitar and bass, but he also messes around with synths.
How do you figure out who would be a good fit? I mean, is there do the musicians that you're booking, do they have to kind of fit do you have a certain criteria in mind in terms of who would, because it's not, obviously at a place like Mosaic, it's, you want to have artists, musicians who are going to fit the vibe. I mean, how do you, is that a big part of the process in terms of figuring out who to book there?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I'll try to have it, be some sort of complimentary, in a sense, but I'm all for diversity as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in shows to come, it'll be more of an abstract bill.
Yeah. I mean, when we were there that night, I mean, that seemed perfect. That seemed like just the perfect fit for that.
And it's such an amazing space. You're sitting in the middle of all this beautiful art, and the space is so. God, I'm looking for a word that's not coming to me. Huh? Intimate. That is exactly what I was looking for. And the sound is just really great with the musicians. I'm telling you, it's totally worth going there to listen to the music. It's just such a great space to be in. It's more personable.
Mm-hmm.
The artist is right there, not umpteen feet away from you or what have you.
Yeah.
No, I've already written it down. February 17th. Got that. February 17th. After tonight will be the next music night. So I'll have that down. Love to actually keep in touch and bring musicians that you have, bring them to our listeners. If we haven't beat you to the punch, we already had Abner on.
Yeah. I mean, if they're available before the show on some Saturday.
And we certainly see a lot of wonderful musicians. If you ever need anybody, please don't hesitate. I love recommendations that come in and go out. So
thanks for that.
Absolutely. I really am excited about tonight's show too.
Yes.
Regals is a new to me. Never heard of them before. And I'm really interesting sound. I really enjoy it. We were listening last night. because I was just playing. I always play something. I have tinnitus, so I always have something in the room going on. Really great sound. Really great
Yeah,
sound.
they started as a three-piece, and I first saw them perform over at Two Shared,
Okay.
and they've expanded to a fuller band. Ryan Egan, who leads the band, has been in former Manchester bands. Before Happy Just to See You were that band, it was Bad Fellows, and he played drums with them, and he was also in a band called Pleasure Gap.
Okay.
But he's been a Manchester staple for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
This city has a lot of art.
True.
A lot of amazing artists. I didn't realize how much until last year when we really started concentrating hard on bringing in more musicians, more artists. This city is bursting with incredible talent. It's just amazing to me what we have in this city. You think New Hampshire, you're kind of a small state. We can fit your whole state inside of New York as far as people go. But we really are very blessed with a lot of amazing talent in different genres, all kinds of genres. If you ever want to try out a new genre, a small venue like this is absolutely perfect to go listen to something you haven't seen before, like Abner 2 or Abner the Second. I never know which way to go.
Either or, I think,
Sure.
really.
He's amazing. He uses a viola and does this looping technique, and the music he creates, and I love his voice. The songs he creates are absolutely awesome. It was funny because Matt's been playing him for a very long time before we ever had him on as a guest. And we finally got him on as a guest, and I got the joy of sitting there going, "We've been playing you for years."
Him being on this show was actually how I realized that Matt had started a radio show.
Oh, no kidding.
Because I was still in Austin, Texas at the time, and I saw Zach Abner post about it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
The small world comes around.
That's good to hear. So now, what does the future hold for Mosaic? I mean, is there kind of a long-term plan as far as continuing to expand what you're doing, or?
We have some really exciting stuff that, is maybe potentially hanging in our future.
Good.
But some of the more kind of immediate moments that we'd really love to see the community show up and support in is, of course, our music night tonight. And so doors will open at 7 p.m. tonight.
Okay.
It is a 21 plus show, but we will be having refreshments by donation and live music. And we expect the show will run through about 10 p.m. This evening.
Cool.
So feel free to stop by between 7 and 10 and come check us out and see what the gallery has to offer.
And Jenny and I will be there, so you can
Absolutely.
come say
hi to
come say hello
us.
to us.
Come
Yeah.
say hello to all
Yeah.
of
Are
us.
you an artist? Do you want to be on? Come say hi.
That's right.
Absolutely. Now, in the course of the collective, you guys operate mostly on donation, right?
Correct. So we are a nonprofit, so we really do rely on support from our community by donation and also by showing up and being in the shows, right? Submitting.
And the fee's like
purchasing
really
artwork.
cheap, isn't it? Like $10, I think.
$10, $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Yeah.
That's our aim and our goal is to keep it that way.
You
Yeah,
can take a chance without losing your grocery bill money.
Right, right.
Which I think it makes it all the more accessible to everybody.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to be somebody with a whole lot of money to try and buy your way in
True.
to a gallery. Your donation is helping to fund this beautiful space for local artists, which, as people know, Matt and I are huge on supporting all local artists. And you can't go wrong when you support your community anyway.
Yeah, we actually have a sticker to support local art, which is $3, which helps artists with submission fees. And we also have gift cards done by Jackie Hansen, which you can kind of buy over time if you want to save up for yourself or give it to someone else to buy a piece at the gallery.
Yeah.
Or you can use it towards your submission fees for open calls. So
Oh, okay.
the next open call that we have is all heart statuses for the February show. So it can either be, about your relationship or love for whoever, or it could be about how love sucks, and you can just do something for that. So any heart status.
Okay.
So
It doesn't even necessarily have to be love. It could be any emotion that
Yeah.
you feel you need to express.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So the submission date is for that. All submissions are due by January 26th at 11:59 p.m. So mark that on your calendars.
Okay.
So when
Okay.
people go to submit, they take a picture of their work, send it to you with the fee, and then everybody goes and looks at all the different pieces. And now, do people come in with huge paintings, teeny tiny paintings? Are there size restrictions? Or do you just send a picture and go, "Hey, this is what it is"?
So typically we don't impose many restrictions because we want to see what you have. We do have space limitations, obviously, that it's not a huge room, but we accept 3D artwork, 2D artwork, digital artwork, any kind. And
Excellent.
the dimensions are completely open. I mean, the only limitation we have is can we get it in the room, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so it really is open-ended, and we encourage everybody to kind of not be constricted in what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a couple. So Nick mentioned that we have a gift card done by a local artist, Jackie Hansen, who we've done some incredible workshops with. And she actually has a workshop coming up in the next couple of weeks here. And it's actually January 25th.
Okay.
It's going to be an eraser workshop. So the gift card that we have is kind of done in a similar style where she has carved into material to create a stamp and then, can
Nice.
repeat that artwork,
Huh.
over and over again as many times as she wants.
Interesting.
So that's how our gift cards are made. And so this eraser workshop will be very similar to that in carving into an eraser material, which is very easy to get, accessible. Anybody can find an eraser and then create a stamp out of it.
Yeah.
So that will be a really exciting workshop coming up. And those who are interested in signing up for that, I encourage checking out our website and getting a slot ahead of time.
Now, what is the cost on that particular workshop?
Off the top of my head, I'm actually not 100% sure, but I'm not even going to give you an estimated figure because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is posted on our website.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
I've
have
got
to
it right
be
here,
on-
actually. The Eraser Print Marketing Workshop that is going to be held on January 25th. Arrive at 5:45, please.
Yep.
And their address, again, is 66 Hanover Street, Suite 201. It's a $35 registration fee, which covers all of the supplies that you need to make your own. And you'll be able to take that home.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that will be a very exciting way to not only support the gallery, but also have something that you get to take home with you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great that you're doing something that's not a painting.
Right.
Right?
It's different. Yeah.
Not that, obviously I paint, but everywhere's always a paint bar. I want to do something fun.
Right. It's not a
something
paint
different, something that you can play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And maybe
Looking
gain some
forward to what else.
inspiration from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the support local artist sticker.
Yeah, you see that there.
That's really. I love stickers. In case you didn't notice, my laptop is completely covered.
Oh, well, you must need one then.
I must need one.
A very fun fact is the artist who created that sticker is actually sitting right next to me in this room.
Oh, no
there you go.
kidding.
There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
Liz-
hey,
Liz talked
no,
about it.
seriously, I really like this.
Yeah, Liz reached out and asked if we wanted to do a sticker, and I just kind of came up with something, and we went back and forth about it. And we actually used that same design for did the Christmas parade recently, and we had a banner on the side that had the same thing, so that was pretty cool too.
Excellent. Excellent. Hey, by the way, this is a little bit not off topic, but not specifically about the gallery, but I'm just curious. Do any of you have any thoughts on, because Jenny and I attended that event that was at the gallery about AI and art. Do any of you just have any kind of general thoughts about that? Or I mean, it's kind of a big subject, but it's a broad question, but I'm just curious if any of you have any thoughts on the matter.
Generally, I'm not for AI, but I can understand its use. Kind of like, I don't know if you're editing something or something like that. But if you're going from like 0 to an image, I don't necessarily love that use of it.
Yeah. By that, you mean like if you give it a prompt and say, create
like,
this and
create this. Cause I don't know. I I hand draw and I use digital. I think digital is like the closest I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But no, I understand its uses though. So generally, I'm not for it, but I can see how people can use it to enhance whatever they're doing there.
Right.
Or edit their writing. So say you're like writing something.
See, we
and
were
you need
talking about that before you guys came into the show.
Yeah.
Because I have a book started and I was hemming and hawing. Should I use AI to edit the book or not? And now I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I was toying with the idea. I mean,
I
geez, it would
I
be
talked her
easy.
out of it.
He did. He talked me out of it. He
Good.
totally talked me out of it. But I have a unique style of writing anyway. I don't know that you could fit that into me.
I have a little bit of a different perspective on AI.
Oh, cool.
So I'm classically trained as a photographer. And I think one of the things when AI started coming onto the scene that I'm just immediately started thinking was, man, must be how painters felt when photography hit the scene, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
You know, and like
Interesting.
to see the medium go from, you have to, at least with photography, you had to actually go to the place and bring the equipment and put that amount of effort in. Now you can just go type in, make me a picture of Santorini with a wedding happening, and there it is. You don't have to be there. So I think, and similarly to a painter who used to have to put, or still does, put hours of time into accurately translating what they're seeing, and then photography hit the scene and you just press a button and go about your merry day, right?
Yeah.
I can only draw like equations to how that must feel there.
Yeah. It never occurred to me.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting insight.
It seems like it might be some kind of natural progression in, art and technology that we're experiencing, but it's also, I am skeptical too. I think AI can be misused, and it is also a tool that is dictated by humans still. So
It's depending upon other people's work to draw itself into work. Like it's pulling from everything else that other people have already done.
right, which in a lot of ways,
arguably
inspiration
we
is
all
doing
do.
that. Right.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that it's an artificial intelligence that's drawing inspiration from the world around it rather than an organic intelligence. So, which I think
this is
leaves
why I
reason
was
to be
fence sitting.
skeptical, but
Yeah.
but it is interesting.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek?
I think that I'm anti AI in the respect of it potentially taking jobs from people, but I believe that there may be some sort of merit to it in like the medical field. It's they're working out ways to allow even like paralyzed people to walk again.
Seriously, I've watched some of those videos. It's amazing.
There's like sensory mechanisms that they have implanted in people that they're able to control remotely and give those sort of sensory function that the body is supposed to, and it's still at the beginning stages, and the people are still slow to get going, but it's some sort of progression in that field.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that too, because when we had Conrad War from the band, I don't know if you know the band Bees Deluxe, really good Boston band, and we were talking about that with him. You remember this? And he was talking about how, for example, if you're a medical professional and you're trying to find a treatment plan for someone with an illness, and you can say to AI, give me 3 treatment plans for this person and describe the person, and it can save a lot of time and potentially be very useful in a situation like that. So
Science in medicine is just exponentially growing. I agree with you. In a lot of different industries, AI does and will continue to have a great place, but in art,
Yeah.
That's
There's-
where and it's all art, whether it's whether it's music, whether it's print, whether it's writing.
It adds a lot of guesswork to, is this authentic or not?
So I'll just share briefly my one experience trying to create visual art using Dolly 3. I don't know if any of you have used that at all, but I had to. We did a segment on the show talking about the Daryl Hall versus John Oates lawsuit a couple of months ago, and so I took that segment and I put it on YouTube, and I needed a thumbnail, and so I tried using Dolly 3 to create what I wanted was to see, because I'd seen people come up with some pretty good stuff using this. So I wanted an image of Daryl Hall and John Oates in a boxing ring. And what I learned pretty quickly is it's very resistant to, and we talked about this too at the event that we went to at Mosaic about AI.
Yeah, this came up at the event.
I wish I could remember that. Who's the gentleman's name, by the way? Do you know offhand?
Carl.
Carl. I cannot. I have a mental block with his name. He was very impressive. I liked his presentation. So we were talking about this, and I remember telling him I couldn't get it to do that exactly, and he said the program seems to be very resistant to the idea, just broadly, of putting celebrities in violent situations. So it wouldn't let me do that. And so the best I was able to get out of it when I tried to make that, and I did get it to do something that I used for a thumbnail on the YouTube video, was Daryl Hall and John Oates at playing chess, but with angry expressions on their faces. It doesn't quite look like Daryl Hall and John Oates, but it looks close enough. But they both look angry, and it's a funny picture. But that's the only thing I've used it for so far. But that was kind of fun. Well, listen, we'll begin to, before we run out of time, I want to make sure. Well, actually, is there anything that we didn't mention? Because I know you had a bunch of things you wanted to mention. I don't want to leave anything out.
I think we got through most of them. The only one that and it occurs to me, since we're talking about Carl's talk, we will be having another artist talk at the end of January here on January 26th.
Okay.
Local photographer Gary Sampson, he's the photographer I invited to the This Is Us Plus Some show. He's been my longtime mentor and professor as a photographer, and he has a really extensive history with Manchester and supporting historical and cultural preservation in Manchester, alongside being also a very prolific artist in his own respect.
Oh, cool.
And he'll be doing an artist talk on the 26th, January 26th, starting at 5:45 p.m. So I know many of the listeners out there may actually know of Gary and might be interested to see him talk and hear about his work. So please feel free to register online for that talk as well. We'd love to see the community show up.
Excellent. Where should people go online to keep up with everything that is going on at Mosaic Art Collective?
I think we are most active on Instagram, Mosaic Art Collective. Very simple. On Instagram. We are also on Facebook. And if you go to mosaicartcollective.com, our gallery website is also updated regularly along with all of our social media pages.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can actually see like all the archive shows from the past year too. So if you're curious what we've been doing,
cool.
You can go down and see all the art that was in each show.
Okay. Excellent. And will all three of you be there tonight?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, we look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you there. Jenny and I will be there, and we encourage people to participate. Yes.
And speaking of archives, as you are aware, I had told you I had a radio show of my own while in Austin.
Yeah.
So since being there, I quote unquote revived the show as a home recording.
Good.
Back in October. So I have a handful of episodes up, most currently one from the beginning of the month. And I'm going to have it go for maybe a few more installments.
Okay.
And until I reach episode 50. So those can be listened to on, it's a music variety show.
Okay.
And it's on mixcloud.com/eclectic arrangements.
Oh, I like the name. Yeah.
Thanks. And we only left out for the show tonight that the admission is a sliding scale, $5 to $10.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
bought our tickets online.
Yes,
which you
yes.
can
Yeah,
also
and that was
do.
an option as well on Eventbrite.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm glad you're all going to be there tonight. That is wonderful. Of course, Abner the Second and Regals will be playing. Who's going on? What's the order?
It's Abner first,
Okay.
and then Regals. And Abner will be joined by a drummer tonight. He
Oh,
won't
cool.
just be solos.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay. Very interesting.
I
Very
like
good.
it.
Very good. Well,
Mix it up,
yes,
as
yes.
Easy G would say.
Oh, that's right. Our
Yes.
friend Easy G. I'm surprised
Mix it up.
surprised he hasn't called.
I know. I missed you, Easy. Where are you?
Well, thank you, all three of you, for coming in. Nick and Chloe, wonderful to meet you. And Derek, of course, always nice to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you tonight. And yeah, definitely would encourage people to come down. Mosaic Art Collective tonight. And in fact, we're going to close out the segment with another song from Abner the Second.